tiny tree friends, how are you? Welcome to the most wonderful time of the year. No, it's not Christmas, it's fall in West Michigan. My favorite season by far. We got colder temps, we got shorter daylight, and the trees are shutting down for the year, putting on their beautiful fall show. And so that means it's time for my fall update video. And if you haven't seen these in the past, what I really try to do here every year is recap the growing season as a whole, show you progression and updates on trees that have been in videos in the past, throw a couple new ones in that I haven't shown you before that I'm excited about, and then I want to wrap up with a little nature walk around the garden to show you progress that's been made here this year. Yeah, let's do it. Fall update 2024, rock and roll. Well, we'll start with the fan favorite Dawn Redwood Forest here. A couple of folks have asked how this is doing. It's doing great, very happy with it. I'd say this is about a week past peak fall color for this tree. I'll throw some photos, and I think I took a video up of when it was almost like a neon orange. Still gorgeous, but I think just a little bit past peak. And if I just flutter some of these branches, you can see the needles are starting to drop off. So we're very much at the end here. It's been in this mica pot for 2 years. So if you haven't seen it, there's a video out there of me putting this together in spring of 2023. The roots on this thing are so vigorous and physically large that it's almost pushing itself up out of this mica pot. So no surprise there. Dawn Redwood's almost always a 2-year repot cycle for them. I let it grow fully on its own without touching it in 2023 after I put them all together in this arrangement. But this year in the spring, I think I have some photos of this. I went in and did some pruning on the apexes of all these trees to go back to favorable buds, continue to encourage the transition of taper from large to small at the top. Going to repot it right back into this container to let it continue to grow out, do some branch selection. With the repot, I'm going to be mounding soil underneath a couple of the trees so I have a little bit of a hilly feel, or at least some undulation, and then maybe a slab. I'm not a slab by default kind of person, but let me know what you would think of maybe seeing this on a slab for this Dawn Redwood Forest. Oh, the big Dawn, the big Dawn. You're probably wondering, where is this one gone? You said it was going to be ready to be a bonsai in like 3 years when you bought it in 2018. Yeah, no, it's been a labor of love with this Dawn Redwood. It's got that fantastic big thick trunk that you can't even see right now. And I've got all these root grafts placed here in an attempt to get more improved nabari. So these all down here will be going bye-bye next year. I think if they have taken, we're just gonna go with it. So I'm gonna do a repot on this tree in the spring, remove these basically seedlings that are root grafts, so you'll actually be able to see some of the trunk on this tree. We're past fall color, just like the Dawn Redwood Forest here, but still quite pretty. The one major thing I did this spring, and hopefully I've got at least a picture of it, is I made a major trunk chop on this tree for a change of direction. And it's a decision I debated over for at least a year. And now it's got a nice leader, it's thickening up and rolling over the callus in that spot. And hopefully we're on our way to building the final canopy for this tree. So not a lot else to say other than it did great, it continues to do well, and hopefully I can start to get this more towards looking like a tree instead of a Frankenstein mad science experiment. Give her one more spin. All right, next victim is a ginkgo biloba forest. Ginkgos are cool. If you're not familiar with them, great landscape trees as well. You can see just the slightest hint of fall color left over on it. I'll show you some photos right now though of the brilliant yellow that it was putting on display just a week or so ago. Absolutely beautiful species. And basically this is part of my many batches of seeds. I went crazy maybe 4 or 5 years ago, bought a ton of different packs of seeds from Sheffield Seed Company and said I'm going to develop all these trees individually, right? Well, that quickly got out of hand. And that's why you're seeing me get a little forest happy. At any rate, this is the second year for this ginkgo forest in this container. I got to do some pruning on it in the spring and make some adjustments. But overall, I like the placement of these trees in the forest. I'll go off to the side here for you. I think it could be something cool someday. And this was an inspiration I took from Blue Sky Bonsai. He's got a fantastic ginkgo forest with a nice blue pot, which I will eventually put this into. But for right now, it's in a training pot, getting used to each other. I'm going to leave it in here for 1 more year because I'm going to do some prunes in the spring on it, and then who knows, maybe we'll put into something a little bit more fancy. For the last tree, let's change it up a little bit and look at a northern red oak with leaves as large as my hand, but beautiful scarlet fall color on this tree. I dug this one up this spring from right there. We were putting the fence in and I had to remove this tree, and I'm thinking, hey, this is a 15-foot tall red oak, a native tree. Let's not kill it. Let's try and turn it into a bonsai. Beautiful, rough bark, and actually very good taper below this soil. And a secondary trunk if I want to make it a twin trunk. So, you know, something different. I think something cool because it's native. And I hope those leaves reduce over time. We will have to see, but obviously going to be a big tree. It's probably 4 feet tall right now, and that's just a fun project to work on. All right, so hopefully you like seeing some of the fall foliage. I love doing this video every year just to kind of recap the season, and want to express gratitude as well to all of you for watching, commenting, giving me your feedback. Take a page out of Boston Bonsai Idiot's book and just say I appreciate the bonsai community and all you tiny tree peeps out there, for sure. So let's do a little nature walk to wrap things up here. I don't remember if I showed you the fence, but it's in, it's looking good. This is my little overwintering nook here. It's about 10 feet wide, and there will probably be a rain barrel in the corner there at some point. If we go down the hill here, a lot more space right down in this main garden area. And you notice I have no benches. And so next year will be the year of the bonsai bench. I lost a 40-foot tall cherry tree right in between those two concolor firs that you see. It provided complete afternoon shade for this entire garden. And big old wind came and smoked it, and it's gone. So I had to plant these concolors. Already got the row of arborvitaes there. Hope these puppies grow fast, but ultimately my afternoon shade is gone. And so the plan is to plant an American larch right down there so that it rises up and provides a bunch of shade for the afternoon for all my trees long term. Tiny trees in tiny containers, as you know, it's a little tricky keeping them watered. So that was an audible I had to deal with as well. I think the edging overall looks good. I've got the rocks in. It looks at least a little better than amateur, maybe. And you got the view out to the pond. So we still have work to do. I've got to stain the fence in the spring. Not gonna have time to do that this year with everything that's going on, but you know, looking at this, it's exactly how I envisioned it. And it's a space for these trees to live, and hopefully for me to turn them into some decent bonsai. So with that said, everybody, I hope that you have a fantastic holiday season and the rest of your growing season, and would love to hear your comments on anything you saw here today. Always appreciate you tagging along. We'll catch you next time.